Nicole LaBeach.
And I'm Crystal Khalil.
And we want to invite you to Woman Unlimited Live. It's going to change your life. The things that we're talking about, trust us, you have not talked about them this way. This is an experience that you do not want to miss.
You might come in one way, but you're going to leave transformed. Check us out at womanunlimitedlive.com.
Situations. I am your host today. Well, I'm the host all the time.
Just today.
I'm the host all the time. I'm G, for y'all don't know, and alongside my Chief Perspective Officer, Tabby. What's going on, my love?
Hi, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Is it?
It is always.
Okay, now I'm glad you're here. How you doing? How's your week?
My week was fabulous, and I'm so excited about, what we have going on today.
Yes,
so,
I'm
yes,
excited.
this is just a culmination of the middle of the week to get me through the rest.
This is our hump day, so we're going to party and have a good time while we invoke these live conversations that we have. So listen, tell the individuals where they can listen to us and watch.
So you can listen to us on ATL Talks, and you can also watch us live on Cluster TV. You can download both of those apps via Google and Apple, and you can actually get ATL Talks on iHeartRadio.
Yes,
Fantastic.
Download the app now. So if you want to see the beautiful lady sitting in front of me right now, download the Cluster TV app this moment.
Right now.
Right now, and you get to see what's going to happen. Because I know some of y'all don't have your attention spans. You got to watch it. So I want to make sure that you see what's happening.
Indeed.
All right, listen, it's going to be a great show. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my Chief Perspective Officer and let her introduce these beauties I got today.
We have some esteemed guests that we are so happy that you ladies have joined us. So first of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules, because I've saw some of the things that you guys are having to juggle and things like that. So thank you, first of all, so much for joining us on this Wednesday night.
We are excited to be here.
Yes.
Great. Well, I want to first start off with our Miss Dr. Nicole LaBeach. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did good.
All right. Well,
Because I was scared.
co-founder.
That's why you pivoted it.
That's what it was.
No, not that. What it was, because I know it's a woman's thing, you know what I'm saying? They really had a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Sounds good.
So, co-founder of Sister Diamonds.
Yes.
Right. World-renowned author, speaker, TV personality. Is there any hat that you do not wear?
Oh, come on, Tab. Keep going. That was good. I love that.
Wait. Fantastic cook.
Fantastic cook.
I heard about
breakfast.
that. I heard about
Amazing
that breakfast.
friend.
Amazing friends.
Man,
Yeah. all
I
of
need
those
to just
things.
keep coming here
Yeah.
to get this boost, you know?
Please, you have
I
an
love
open
that.
invitation.
Yes, we're going to pour it all
Open
into you, baby.
invitation. So welcome.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you. So glad to have you.
Thank you.
And then we gotta introduce Miss Crystal Khalil. Miss Khalil, world-renowned author as well.
Yes.
Master executive coach.
Yes.
Relationship coach. Author. Oh my gosh, I wanted to have my book so I can get a signing, but I'll just get them later so that you have to come
Gotcha.
back. So,
And do you know, since we talking, history maker,
history maker.
Crystal Khalil is the first African American executive for Porsche cars worldwide.
Wow.
Glass ceiling
We are
crusher.
sitting in the
Just saying.
history.
Thank you.
Small little details.
Small little footnote if we were gonna put it. Oh, right. That's major though.
Major. Crushing
Major.
the ceilings. Crushing it.
it. And I thank you as a person coming up in corporate America. Thank you.
Thank you.
At some point I want to exit, but
Well,
thank you in the
That
meantime.
part.
Say it loud.
It was a set out for the people in the back.
Please.
Right. The people in the back. So thank you again for being here. Oh my gosh, it is such an honor. Such an honor.
It's an honor to be here with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. So listen, tell the people a little bit about how everything came together and God brought y'all into that in divine intervention. Tell us how that happened.
You said it. God brought us in. It was divine intervention.
Yes.
We were introduced by a former coworker of mine, and Morehouse brother of hers, who just was like, I need you to meet this sister. I think y'all have like-minded spirits. At the time, I was the head of procurement for Porsche in North America. Dr. Nicole, CEO of Volition Enterprises, and she was bidding on some organizational development and DEI work for Porsche.
Okay.
And so I was like, sure, I'm always game for meeting new people. And, and then we had this business opportunity. So we meet with a bunch of people, and it was, very business professional conversation.
Right.
But we knew, I want to meet with you again.
Okay.
So we scheduled just a one-on-one luncheon a couple weeks later. We meet, I show up, head of procurement, North America. She shows us CEO, suited and booted, and we start our conversation. And it wasn't 5 minutes before the mask started falling off.
I love that.
The mask started falling off, and I was Crystal, and she was Nicole. And we started sharing and laughing, and it was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And what was supposed to be a lunch turned into us shutting down the restaurant.
They were sweeping around us. They were like, y'all seem to be into something deep.
Yeah.
So we'll just, don't move.
Yeah.
Don't upset yourself. Just sweep around you.
And they were just like, because what's happening is beautiful. It was like really like an upper room conversation that took place. And when I left, I was like, okay, God, what just happened? I meet with people all the time.
Yeah.
But this was something different. This was
that.
something different. And so we had to keep a little distance because she was bidding on business, right? So we had to keep a little distance. And I went to a conference in D.C., right? D.C. It was a women's business enterprise. I was a speaker. She was there as an attendee. We ran into each other. And I was like, oh, my God. And it was like thousands of women at this conference. So it wasn't like a small conference. But we run into each other in this space. And I'm like, let me introduce you to some people.
Right.
And I take her around and introduce her.
And let me stop right there for a second. Because, people will promise things and people will suggest things.
Yeah.
But when it's time for them to show up in that intention, they might fall a little short.
Yeah.
When she said, let me take you around and introduce you to people, she did that for like the entire day.
Wow.
She was like, stick with me. She took me to people and she was saying things like, this is someone you need to meet.
Yeah.
You need to know her. You need to know what she does. She's going to bring some solutions to your company that are going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as the head of procurement at another company that's well respected, she was like, no, come with me. And I was like, God.
Never seen that before.
Who does this? He was like, I do. I'm God.
All right.
I do this through my folks
Yes.
that will usher you into rooms and conversations that you could not create for yourself.
Yeah.
So I just had to highlight that.
Thank you.
That's
Because
awesome.
to experience that is an amazing feeling, especially from another woman of color
Exactly.
that is saying from the door, we don't compete, we collaborate.
Yeah.
You've got an amazing business. I want to tell people about what you do.
Yeah.
Just saying. That's who my business partner is. Mom.
You just want to put that out
Right.
there.
Just so y'all understand who she
I
is.
just got to put that out there.
Just so y'all know who she is. This is the
I'm sorry.
Crystal.
This is the Crystal.
You understand me? I love
And
that.
I'm about to tell you who my business
Uh-oh,
partner
here we go. Who is Dr. Nicole?
Okay.
Lord.
Because what she didn't know was at the time I had achieved a whole lot, but I hadn't achieved happy, right? I had been striving, working hard to break through those glass ceilings, and had finally gotten there and was like, God, is this all there is? Is there more? I feel like you're calling me for more.
Yeah.
This procurement I can do like the back of my hand, but I'm not fulfilled, right? So I had already put in action and put in plan to leave corporate America, but I wasn't sharing that publicly, right? And so she didn't know that. And a couple months later, I made that leap. I retired in January of 2020. started my own business, and I had a plan, but God had a plan,
He had a
right?
double.
We plan, God plans. He's always the greatest of planners.
Yes.
So I leave, and she finds out through the grapevine that I've retired. Let me tell you who my partner is.
Right.
She calls me and says, sis, I heard you made the leap. I'm so proud of you.
Right.
She's like, I've been out here for a long time as an entrepreneur, right? And she's like, it's no easy feat to be out here as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And I want to avail myself to you. I want to
wow.
celebrate you for taking this leap.
Wow.
And if you just want to get together sometimes, work at Starbucks, you need somebody to share information. She's like, let me support you. Y'all, it was like somebody came and offered me a big old tall pitcher of water. Because I had been in a position of supporting other people, giving other people opportunities in procurement. I was the one everybody else called for help, for support, to introduce them, give them opportunities, right? And I didn't have anybody in my circle that was like checking in on me.
Right.
You okay? They just like, Crystal gonna always bounce on her
The
feet.
strong one.
She the strong one,
Right.
right? So to have her call me and say, how can I serve you? How can I support you? And she invited me to her home, which in those meetings that we'd had previously, it wasn't a personal space, right? We were in
Right.
public. So she invited me to her home and said, let me cook breakfast for you. Wow. And I was like, wow, okay. I was like, sis, what should I bring? She said, just bring some flowers, because all pretty girls deserve flowers.
Absolutely.
So I show up with my flowers, and y'all,
Oh, I heard about that breakfast.
gee,
I heard about that breakfast.
pineapple French toast,
Come on.
candied bacon. What else did we have? Oh, eggs with hand-struck fresh corn in them. Do you hear me?
Oh, okay.
She
Let me
threw
see.
down.
How do I get in?
Where's the next invite?
Look,
Right.
what I gotta do to get
I
this
need to
grace?
submit my resignation.
Look,
to
look.
get
Oh my
that
God.
invite.
Lord.
Oh my God.
Father God, in the name
In
of
the name of
Jesus,
Jesus.
let me get in here too. I love that.
She threw down.
Yeah,
You know
a
when
whole
somebody
spread.
cooks with love?
Yeah.
She cooked for me with love
So
and
you
intention.
had a little itis at the end.
I was
everything.
like,
I
girl,
love you.
right, I love you. And 8 hours later, we were in bed.
8
8
hours.
hours. The breakfast
8.
was 8 hours, y'all. 8 hours later, we were in business together. Because what we realized was, when I left corporate America, every year I asked God for a focus word, right? So my focus word was illumination
Okay.
for 2020. It was
Okay.
like God said, shine your light. It's about to get dark. I had no idea it was a pandemic coming. I had no idea the George Floyd situation was coming. I had no idea the world was about to be shut down. But God said, shine your light, illumination, right? So I was like, okay, God. She also does a focus word every year. Her focus word was collectivism. So when she said, I said, well, mine is illumination. She said, mine is collectivism. So we realized when illumination and collectivism come together, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
And hence the Sister Diamonds is our business, coming together to shine our light. And we were like, what we have as a partnership, as a sisterhood, as community, we were like, other women need to experience this. They need to experience this because the narrative is black women can't work together. The narrative is we cutting each other down, right? That's what they want to show us on television. That's
The
what
negative part.
Yeah, the negative part. But the truth is, we are so powerful when we come together that nothing can stop us. And we have experienced that. 3 months later, we were on Good Morning America.
Right. I saw that.
So check it out. You're talking to two women that God has positioned, God has elevated. We've gone through stuff, and God said, let me show you what restoration looks like. He's put us in rooms that it doesn't make any sense. Because if you look at our family, you look at where we come from, you look at our journey, you're like, how you get in this spot in this room, Jesus?
Right.
We did all of that individually. And God said, You want to see something cool?
Right. Watch what happens when it's a union.
Watch what I'm going to do. When you come together in obedience and you're not afraid of sacrifice.
And you're humble.
Right?
Humble enough to know that her light doesn't dim my light and my light doesn't dim her light. But when we shine together, it's so bright that darkness can't exist.
So you're saying that there is space for all the light?
Oh my gosh.
Not only is there space, we need it.
We need it.
Do you know how many people walking around with a 100-watt light bulb and they shining at 20?
So we tell people, when you're around us, turn it all the way up.
Turn it up.
We
Turn it
don't
up.
do dimmers.
Turn it all the way up.
Listen, I love that. That is amazing.
Because when you do, it lights a path for other people to be able to see this is what God is doing. Come and join. Come and be in the overflow. Come and bring your talents. Come and bring your gifts and your treasure. Look at where the path is.
We have space for you. There is space. We have so many areas where there is no space for us.
Right.
Right? You go into corporate America, you're the only black woman, the only black person, I used to even be the only person speaking English sometimes in the room. You see what I'm saying? You walk in and you're the only.
Yeah.
You gotta work hard, you gotta cross your I's, dot your T's. How many of us grew up in the house where we were told you can't be just as good, you got to be better. You got to work twice as hard to get half, right?
Yeah.
So it's so many spaces where there is no space for us.
Yeah.
We looked around and said, that's not what we want. We couldn't find what we wanted, so we created a space that has space for our women to come and shine. Our community is so amazing. Yeah. We have a community called the Sister Diamonds Collective. These women come into a space because they're the ones that do it for everybody else. They're the Olivia Pope at work, at home, at church, in the community. They are solving problems. Everybody call them for help, right? They're high achievers. They're amazing. They take care of family and mom and them and daddy and your children and your husband. And they are the ones, right?
Yeah.
But when they look around, the people around them can't support them.
Yeah.
Right? They can't support them. So we've created a community where you are surrounded by women who can do for you what you do for everybody else.
I love that.
Wow.
And being able to give them the tools to help people unlearn
that habit.
what they learned that says, I can't support you.
Yeah.
Or that says you're invisible.
Right?
Yeah.
So what we've said is, look, a lot of times we co-create what we don't want. We co-create it. So if you worked well to co-create what you don't want, let's start working on co-creating what you do want.
Yeah.
So if you look around you and you're like, dang, I might as well do this by myself. The time it's going to take to teach you how to do this, I might as well do it by myself.
Yes.
If that's you, if that's your narrative, it's time to help folks unlearn that they can't support you. Unlearn that you don't need anything.
Yeah.
Unlearn that they don't ever have to worry about you, Tabitha, because you're going to always figure it out. You've got to unlearn that because I need community to thrive.
And I've got to learn that 80% perfection is 100% all good.
Yeah.
Allow you to help me, support me.
Yeah. I love everything about this. This is amazing. And I love that when divine intervention steps in, can't nobody stop it. This was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It was supposed to
It was supposed to happen the way it happened, when it happened, the time it happened, all divine. That is amazing.
We get divine intervention every single day, G.
Yeah.
We get divine confirmation that we are right where we're supposed to be. When we hear from women how now they are able to stand in their power, serve from their overflow and not from their deficit, how it's changed their relationships, how it's changed their career trajectory, how it's made them feel powerful enough to take the leap from corporate America and build their businesses. We're just like, yeah, you hear that?
Listen, I'm listening.
Yes.
I'm about to pick up the pen. Let's see if I can kind of scoot it on to. But yes,
game
I love
changing.
that.
I
It's
love
game
that.
changing.
I shared you guys' video with someone, and they kept saying the overflow.
The
Yeah.
overflow.
Mhm.
When you can see how so many, we talk about liberation, activation, acceleration. We talk about that. It's the yummy method. Your ultimate,
I read that on
most
your stuff.
meaningful yet. Why do we say that? Because we realized there were a lot of things that we've done that was good. There are a lot of things that you can do that's good stuff, but it might not be yummy stuff.
Right.
And at this point, we want to do the stuff that is not only seen by God as purposed and assigned, but we look at it and we experience it and we say, it make your face turn up. Because you're like, that's yummy.
It's so
Okay.
good. That's the
so
only word to
good.
You ever ate something that was
Ooh.
so good? The only word to describe it is, this is yummy.
Yeah, make you hum.
Right.
Yeah, make you do a little dance a little bit. Right? We're like, because God does want us to have fun
Yeah.
in what we're doing, in the meaningfulness of how we're living and how we're moving forward. So one of the things that we realized is we had gone through a lot of the same process. And then we started to say, well, Crystal, that's what I went through. And Crystal was like, yeah, that's what I went through. And we were like, God, how do we bottle that?
Yeah.
How do we teach that? How do we share that? How do we create opportunities for women to be safe and seen? Safe and seen, so that what they're doing just elevates the conversation for everybody that's in the room. So you know where the word says your gifts will make room for you?
Absolutely.
Crystal and I were talking one day and we were like, ooh. So does that mean that when we come in the room with our gifts, the room expands?
Okay.
Wow.
Come on,
Right?
somebody.
It's making room.
Come on, somebody.
Because we
Yes.
walk in here with all these gifts,
Come
giving
on.
glory to who gave us the
Right.
gift. Does the room expand? So what we started to recognize is we come into so many conversations with limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. Now we speak about God and Jesus and Christianity and all those things. It's wonderful. But when it get tight, when it's a little tight, those limiting beliefs that we often inherited from people who love us.
Love us dearly.
They love us, but they gave us what they had,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's for us to say, now, wait a minute. I can't get where God is telling me more. I can't get there with this mindset. My mind is set on this part of the dial, and God is saying, but you need to be over here.
Somebody
Right.
change the dial.
You got to
Change
change the
the
dial.
dial.
So what we talk to women about as our first step in our method is liberation from self-sabotage, from sabotage of others, because you're going to have to activate some things.
Yeah.
It's not going to just be your mind being on a certain dial. It's going to be, what does that give you access to?
Right.
What does that activate in your actions?
Yeah.
What does that activate in how you spend your time? How does that activate how you treat fear?
Correct.
How does,
Absolutely.
how does that action speak to, you know what? I'm going to go afraid. Yeah, I'm scared. And
Right.
point,
Right.
and I'm going anyway.
Yeah.
Then being able to be in acceleration, because when your mind is free and your actions move towards what your mind is telling you is possible,
Yes.
acceleration just becomes natural, because you start to gravitate people to you that are real community. Not community of where you were or what you couldn't accomplish, but community that's saying, let's go. Come on, sis, what we doing? Did you say you was going to leave that job in 2025? We in 2024, what we doing? What's the plan?
Okay.
What we doing?
Yeah.
Where's the accountability? Where's the love? Where's the encouragement?
Yeah.
What we doing?
Yeah.
And being able to share with you what you need to make those moves, because leaping and falling are not the same thing.
Come on, somebody. They definitely not.
They're not the
They
same.
definitely not.
But those limiting beliefs will have you thinking, oh, I don't want to jump because I don't want to fall.
Yeah.
God is not asking you to jump. He's asking you to leap. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You're afraid that there's no net.
Yeah.
He don't need a net.
Ooh.
He owns the sky. He just needs your permission because he's a gentleman.
Right. Come on now. Come
Right?
on, gentlemen.
Yes.
He's a gentleman.
Come on, gentlemen. I love
So
that.
he's like, I just need you to agree
Yeah.
Yeah.
that this is what we're doing. So what we've been able to create is the opportunity, first of all, for women to see us doing it
Yeah.
transparently.
Yeah.
And then being able to say, what's holding on to me? What's keeping me weighted down?
Yeah.
Why can't I do this?
Right.
Let me try. And let me not sabotage myself, but let me press towards the mark of something that's higher. Call it a higher calling. Call it something that's in your shanana. It's in your belly. And you're like, okay, God, your credit is 100% with me.
Yeah.
Your credit is perfect. You always show up. So now let me activate what I know is possible, and let you bring resources, because he's the singular source.
Yeah.
Everything else is but a resource. You know you think your job is the source.
Right. Well, we talk about that all the time.
Your
We
job
talk
is
about
not
that all
the
the time.
source.
A higher faith in that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't give it a second thought that I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
It doesn't even cross my mind.
Do you know, it's so funny you said that. I was meeting with one of my mentees today, and she was recently laid off from Facebook. They laid off 10,000 people via email.
Oh,
Via
wow.
email, right? So you think they're going to be there. That's my source. That check coming every 2 weeks.
They've been
You
there.
wake up, turn on your computer, and by email,
Yeah.
they're like, we'll send you your severance. Your access has been denied.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Job complete.
Yeah.
What? Right? But if you don't know your source, that right there can make somebody commit suicide. Because they got mortgage, car note, tuition, all kinds of stuff. And they are expecting that paycheck every 2
2
weeks.
weeks. Yeah.
Right? And this is happening more and more in this world. So we have got to know the source, because resources revolve, resources change. And when you trust the source, you know money is paper. Money is not the only currency, but it's just paper.
It is.
It's a resource. It come and go. You can create and make money, right?
They do it
But-
all the time.
Right. You gotta
Yeah.
trust the source.
Baby, y'all listen. Y'all trust the source like they telling y'all. We tell you all the time, but you listen to these accomplished women on this stage telling you to trust the source.
Yeah.
Listen, I normally start this segment off with a whole icebreaker, but that I don't even
That
need to
was
do.
the icebreaker.
That was the icebreaker.
That was the ice.
That was
broken.
It is broken. It is open. It may not close till the end of the show.
I love
You
it.
get me? So listen, if you just tuned in, you missed out on some dynamic stuff. But guess what? We got you, because you can go back and listen to it. We're going to have it where you can watch it again and get all that yummy sensation.
Yeah.
You just missed. You get me? So listen, here on ATL Talks Radio, we like to have open dialogue. We're not therapists. We just have
We are
open
not.
dialogue.
However,
No, we do have a doctor on the
we have a
camera.
doctor in the house.
We
Yes.
are master coaches, and
Yes,
we
we
are
have
here
master
to talk
coaches.
about it.
Yes.
Let's
So
talk about it.
Yes.
the host and co-host are, but we got you covered today, and we're gonna hit a couple of topics while I have these beautiful, intelligent women on my stage today. We're gonna hit a couple things, and feel free to share what you want, because we're here to learn. Okay. So icebreaker still open. It's open. So listen, I wanted to hit some subjects since we're on the women's empowerment thing, which y'all have everything. I ain't even mad about it, but that's good. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be the one that changes for these men.
Yes.
We're going to have it for these men.
We got you.
Yes.
We got you.
Because
Yes.
honestly,
We got you.
if I'm being honest, because it is a candid show,
Yeah.
when I read everything and heard everything that y'all were doing, I said, that was my divine intervention, because I want to do the exact same thing. Well, I want to do the exact same thing y'all doing for us.
Amen.
We encourage it.
Amen.
For us,
We
because
encourage
we have to have these outlets where we know our rights, we
That's
can
right.
evoke emotion, we can
Yeah.
it just changes the whole spectrum.
Yes,
We
it does.
Bringing
encourage
down prison population, knowing how to communicate effectively with your spouse, your children, all of this stuff that men need to know.
Yes.
That we kind of don't know because we kind of shunned in, which leads me into the first topic of conversation tonight. Emotional control.
Yeah.
Why is it that you guys think women can invoke and express their emotion freely and wholeheartedly, but when it comes to men, especially African American men, it is shunned upon?
Well, first of all, that's not exactly true.
Well, this is what my friend group. This is my friend group.
Yeah.
Some researching that I've done. I know some people will really, because I'm one. I will sit here and
Yeah.
But I know people that are really. They get talked
That's the
about. They're
perception.
afraid to do. That's the
The
perception.
perception. And,
Yeah.
and you know, and it's funny because we meet a lot of women that struggle with emotions, right? But men, especially black men, from childhood are taught, suck it up.
Okay.
Right?
You
Stop
better not-
crying. What you
better
crying
not
for?
cry.
I'm gonna
Right.
punch you in your chest.
Right,
Keep crying.
yeah.
Right? You know,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate,
Yeah.
right? So they're taught to suppress emotion and not cry and not put their feelings into words. And then the minute they start liking girls and they get in relationship or they start being in relationships, the first thing we want to know is how you feel.
How you feel about me? How do you feel
I
about
like
me?
that.
Right? And the only word they have is good.
Right.
Right? Because they don't even know it's a full spectrum of words to describe emotion.
Okay, this is
and
good. It's
feeling.
already started.
There's a
good.
whole lexicon of words for emotion and
Yeah.
feelings. So we are taught, a lot of us, and it's men and women, but primarily men are taught that it's not masculine to have emotion.
Yeah.
I remember one season of Put a Ring on It. I think it was season 2. One of the gentlemen on there, what was his name? That he was emotional. And when his girlfriend went out, he had a fit. He called his friend. He started crying, and social media
Ate him alive.
ate him alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, he did everything right.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't just lose it. He called a friend. Right? He expressed how he was feeling.
Yep.
He put words to it, to emotions. He didn't damage anything. He didn't break anything, right? It was a healthy way to express his emotion.
Right.
But the world couldn't handle. They couldn't handle seeing an emotional black man.
Man.
What?
So it's mastery on both sides. Quincy Jones said, in order to be a master, you have to have 10,000 hours of practice.
Ooh.
Boys, by the time they become full-grown men in our community, they are masters at practicing how to shut down, how to not communicate feelings, and how to not have feelings. And we, as the community, we are masters at not receiving that from them.
Wow.
We've practiced too.
Yeah.
We've practiced only seeing the emotion in the female form.
Yeah.
So much so, if we see it in the male form, it's like our brain gets a little
foggy.
foggy.
Uh-huh.
And then we want to say, well, there's something feminine about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing feminine about it. It's something human about it. It's something human about it.
Yep.
Because if you cannot feel, and all your practice has been to not feel, to not show people you have feelings, to not communicate your feelings, and your community has practiced that makes you something other than human, then where do our children go to get nurtured in legacy?
Right.
They're not just getting nurtured from the women. They're supposed to get nurtured from our men.
Two-party.
It's a two-party
Yes.
conversation. So what we've talked about is so exciting to hear men talk about wanting to support men. Because one of the things when we got the show, it was ministry. And we would hear men all the time that would come up and be like, y'all all right. Y'all all right. Y'all consistent. You don't make us feel like we're not a part of the conversation. Make us feel like we don't have a voice. Make us feel like it's all our fault, right? Because we like, well, if we one way on Monday, we consistent. We that way on Thursday and on Saturday. So when when people experienced Put a Ring on It, they were saying to us all the time, wow, first of all, people came back week after week. That means they survived.
Right.
Working
Right.
on their
Working
relationship.
on their relationship.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
It doesn't just work at work.
Right.
It works at home.
Right.
Right? So they were like, oh, and wait a minute. So a third party can be a blessing? Yeah.
And not a blamer.
And not a blamer? Oh. Well, maybe that's something that we should try, because with the right expertise, you would be surprised the difference between what you heard and what they said.
Say it one more time for the people in the back, Doc.
The difference between what you heard and what they said. Because we'll sit there and be like, oh, that was so good.
Right.
That's just not what they said.
Say it, right?
Yes, they did. No,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
they didn't. It's what you heard,
Yeah.
because the ghost helped you hear it.
Yep.
Who are the ghosts? The people that raised you.
Your inner saboteur.
Your
Your
inner
inner
saboteur.
Uh-huh.
They said, oh no,
Your trauma.
they did not say that to me. You're right, they did not
Right.
say that to you. It's just what you heard.
Isn't it weird? And we always talk about this on the show. How the mind can, it's so big and it's so powerful, and it has you just tricked
Yes.
to thinking, well, this is what I'm used to hearing, so that's what I'm going to go with.
The
It's just
belief
like right, and it's just like if I come to her and I have a problem, right, and she ain't hearing what I want to say. Then I come to Dr. Nicole, she on my channel. Okay, see, that's what I thought. I'm going to go with what you said. What? You go with what you wanted to hear in the first. You already made up your mind in the first place you was going to do. The mind is so powerful.
It is so powerful.
It will have you thinking things beyond measure that don't even have anything to do with what's going on with you.
The belief system is so powerful that people will strap on bombs and walk into a mosque.
Isn't that
Listen,
crazy?
That
Will.
part.
Isn't that
part.
crazy?
And how you filter your response or your translation
Yes.
of
Yes.
the interaction
Yeah.
is the part that, we talked about. Sometimes it can be something as simple as, hey, Nicole, I like that jacket. Oh, you didn't like my other jackets?
Right.
I just...
Or you don't like my jacket, you just like
But
her
you just
jacket.
like Nicole. Right.
Right.
So,
Because listening, it's a real thing.
It is.
Listening and defending are not the same thing. They're not the same word.
They're even not in the same avenue.
Right? So, when we watch our body language, first of all, before anything comes out of your mouth, your body will say so much.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're thinking, you're listening, see what your body is doing. Because often you're not listening to hear, you're listening to respond. And I just want to shut you up enough to get all the stuff out that I gotta say.
Yeah.
Which then is interpreted as, you don't want to hear what I gotta say? And the answer is no.
We playing double dutch with words. I'm like,
Right.
I'm just waiting for it.
I can't let you finish the thought.
No.
Because
Right.
I already know
What
what
you
I'm going to say.
My
And that's
rebuttal.
right. And that's the
My
thing with the
rebuttal.
whole effective communication thing. It's like we do not express that enough. We always talk about effective communication. If you already, your pride has you on 1,000 right now, and you're in the middle of an argument, I don't care what you talk about, Miss Crystal. Because when you finish, I'm finna unload.
I'm about to let
Yeah.
you
I'm about
have
to
it.
let you get it.
I'm about to
cut
play
you
the
to
big
wall.
joker.
Come on. Come on, somebody. The big one.
The big one.
What
My
the
mother
big
used to lick it and put it
right,
on her
bam.
forehead.
Because I already know I'm about to cut her to the white beat.
Right.
I'm about to cut her. I don't care what she talking about.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Because now you done said all kinds of stuff that you can't take back.
No.
Right.
You done regurgitated all this stuff.
Yeah.
And now me and you in the space like, man, I can't even go and say I'm sorry because I'm still hearing what you said.
Yeah, because I done cut you to the
Yeah,
white
so
meat.
my my elementary school, thank you Carolyn Gordon for this information. She used to tell me, stop and think before you react to something.
Mm-hmm.
So now, when I'm literally talking or meeting people, I have to literally stop, think about it for a minute before I regurgitate it and react to it. Because growing up, I grew up with a grandmother. What she said,
quick with
it's
it.
coming out. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I thought I had to be like, okay, well, shit, Grams like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hot with the mouth too now. I'm a little spicy with the tongue when I get there. But I'm going to be like, okay, but I'm pull back. Because, you know, that mouth will get you in trouble. It's all about the communication when you're doing this stuff.
And that's waiting is a powerful tool.
It is.
Pause, press and pause.
Right.
Is
And
a
getting the whole
powerful
story.
tool.
Yeah. We call it managing yourself.
I like that.
Manage yourself. Do that.
Do that part.
Do
that
do
part.
that
Because what
part.
you always telling me, ma'am, because she tells me a lot. But she tells me this one constantly.
Listen, stay out of other people's head.
Period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Period.
You cannot possibly know what I'm thinking.
there you
Yeah.
go.
So you stay out of my head
Yeah.
and just do what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
90% of this would be okay.
Those assumptions get us in trouble.
Don't it?
Sure do.
I
Does
literally.
that make an ass out of you and me?
And me. And probably everybody else on my team who was talking. Listen, it's so weird because, like, I used to have social anxiety. I still have it a little bit, right? So what I was doing was entering this new space that I'm in with the TVs, the movies, and all the stuff that I'm doing, right? Entering the space, I'm like, okay, I gotta go meet with. So I'm walking in the room, and I'm like, now, you may have eye contact with me, Mr. Nicole, and I'm thinking, okay, what's she saying negative about me? Couldn't it not be saying, I'm all in your head thinking about what you're saying about me,
Wow.
and then I go back. Emotional trauma, childhood trauma, all that's coming up.
Yeah.
When it could be the furthest thing. And boy, stay out of people's head.
Yeah.
Stay out of people's head.
Cause you know your 5-year-old self ain't got no driver's
Ain't got none. He on a tricycle, if that.
Okay, and will get in your car
And drive.
and drive.
Yeah.
So there comes that point where you have to say, okay, you keep getting in the driver's seat, and I know you ain't got no license. Cause you are my 5-year-old self.
Yes.
5-year-old self.
And that's when I say the mind is so
So-
powerful.
But here's the thing, we've got to take action on growing up
We do.
our younger self and letting them know they only try to drive because we're wobbly. That's why they get in the driver's seat.
So we driving on May Pops at this point.
On
Yeah.
Maypop.
Come on. Come on, May
So
Pops.
when we get to the point where we say, you know what? Folk out here keep telling me everybody's got trauma. I'm not a believer. But let me just test the theory.
Test it.
I'm not going to test it out because I'm perfect. The problems are with everybody else.
Because I'm
Right?
perfect.
But I'm going to test it out to prove you wrong.
Right.
So I'm just going to go to a therapist and I'm going to say, I already know you can't help me because I'm perfect. But I've heard that everybody's got trauma. So let me see if I have some and can you help me? That's what we say. Just test it out so that you could tell us how it works. Because I love my therapist.
Okay.
Me too.
Fantastic.
Me too.
Helps me manage myself so that I don't
Yeah.
say things from a 5-year-old space because now my 5-year-old, she like, you know what? She takes good care of me. I can just get a blanket and lay in the back seat. She'll let me know when she need me. Because I'm not abandoning her. I'm not leaving her places. She wasn't actually taken care of that well. She wasn't loved that well. So at times I got to be like, baby, take this blanket and a pillow. Take a nap. I got you. She trusts me now. Trust me now to say she does not move on trauma and impulse. And if something comes up that's funky, funny, it ain't right, she works it out. She does her work so that we're good.
Well, let me tell you something about that 5-year-old child. It takes a village to raise a child.
Oh, yes.
You can't do it by yourself.
Yourself.
So what I love about what you said is with your social anxiety, you talk to your partner about it, right? You share it.
Yeah.
And then you are able to give him accountability. You're able to mirror it back to him so that he can see, right? Get out of other people's head,
Yes.
right? We need a safe space because, see, the enemy whoop your tail in silence.
Secrecy is the devil's
Secrecy
playground.
is the devil's playground. So you could sit around and hold all that in, your thoughts and what the enemy is saying, and it'll just keep dragging you lower and lower and lower and lower.
The internal Armageddon.
It is, but when you speak it, when you put it in the atmosphere, we do this all the time. Be like, sis, you know what that old stinking devil said to me this morning? I can't stand him. I'll be like, he told me this morning that I ain't qualified to do da 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 da. And then she be like, now you know he a liar. And we sit there and we talk about it rather than allowing him to be, or even if it's, sis, you know what he told me? He told me that you don't like it when I do such and such and such. Because, see, he'll do that. When you in partnership with people, when you in relationship with people, he come in like a thief in the night. Because what he come to do? Steal, kill, and destroy, right? He come in, and divide. So he'll come in and be like, you know she be talking about you, don't she?
That old
Hey, the
sap
bit for the
sucker.
truth.
Ain't even a bit. You know she think you crazy. Don't
Right.
she? Right? She's look at her sitting there shaking her
Yeah,
head. She
but-
think you crazy as a
Right.
bed bug. Right? That's what he do.
Yeah.
And if you don't speak it, if you allow him to hold you in silence, that's where he wins. That's where the divide is between how God sees you and how you see you.
I think
He
I toss
all
with
in
that, too.
between.
I toss with that now. Because I'm on the Candid show, so I just like to be honest. I toss with that now as a man. And I always say, God, yes, you know, we told when we were younger, go to God, go pray. Okay. And that's fine. I get that. But the Holy Ghost put those vessels down here called therapists.
Yes.
And anybody else, that's what they here for.
That's why it's a village.
Right.
It take a
So it
village.
takes a village. He's giving it a village.
Yes.
It's part of the village.
Yes.
But
You need
as
your
a
team.
man who has been trying to
Reconcile.
find myself, right? So it's a lot of things because I believe that God literally gave me the spirit of giving and just give, to be a servant. And I'm like you when you was talking earlier, so I was like, she hit me. Because I'm like you. I'm giving. I'm not looking for anything in return because that's just not how my heart is built. But it's like I'm giving. And I'm like, in a saboteur. So, okay, Lord, now I know I was giving.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm in a space in my life where I need to receive. Now, what you gonna do? That's how I'm talking.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here like, okay, now the old me, I would have been in shambles right now. I would have packed my house and moved back to my mama's house in Louisiana. My mom coming home. But something is I know it's keeping me here. But it's like, as a man trying to decipher and fight through this stuff.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we already looked down as failures, some of us.
Yeah.
We're not good for nothing.
Yeah.
We try to take platforms and we try to do things the right way without going on a bad avenue,
Yeah.
the illegal way. So you try to like, okay, let's think of what I can do to be an upstanding black man here and share my past and share my story with people. It was hard for me to get this platform because I was like, I gotta be open. I gotta sit here and tell people things that I ain't ready to talk about yet. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm good. So I actively can speak on stuff, but it is hard, like trying to decipher. Okay, because I'm by myself a good bit of the time
Right.
in my house, and I'm chilling and I'm relaxing. I'm trying to work on stuff to keep my mind out of this space. But sometimes I'll have a backslide and I go in that space, and it could be a little thing, a triggering word, or something I see on TV that triggers it, and it's like, okay, Lord, I'm trying to deal with the triggers. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm not, it's a lot.
Oh, boy, Dr. Nicole is
so
ready.
It's a lot. And I'm not trying to throw it out there,
No.
but
You
these are the
said so
things that some
much.
males deal with.
Because it's so strategic. It's strategic that you don't talk.
Yeah.
Because especially when it comes to trauma, if you don't talk, when you talk, it comes up and out. If you don't talk, it stays in. And wherever you go, you go.
And energy that's not released becomes mass.
That's right. It shows
Right.
up as cancer.
Yes.
It shows
Yeah, it
up
shows
up-
as
yes.
every kind of disease
Yeah.
you
Because
can think of.
the more you talk, and this is the sabotage, because we've been taught as a culture, don't speak it. Whatever hurts you, whatever has offended you,
Whatever goes on in
whatever
this
goes
house
on.
stays in this house.
We've been taught
Okay.
that. But here's the liberation.
Mm.
When you speak it, and you can test this out, test it out. Speak on something that has hurt you with a responsible source that can hold the space for the hurt. And what happens is, after a while, after you've talked about it, because as you talk about it, it's like it's traveling. Whatever that thing is traveling as you're talking, but it's not in here anymore.
Right.
It's something you've experienced, but it's not writing the entire narrative
Yeah.
anymore.
Absolutely, that
To the
narrative.
point where somebody can then ask you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, yeah, that thing, the emotion is not in it the same anymore.
Yep. It's free.
It's not oppressing you. It's not pressing you. It's not strangling you. You are not acting like it's a beach ball that you're trying to drown and lose in.
Right.
Because you lose.
But I want to go back and celebrate you, G, because you're very courageous.
Yeah, it took a lot.
Yeah.
It took a lot.
You're
For
very
sure.
courageous.
Yeah.
And what the inner saboteur, the enemy, whatever you want to call it, would want you to do is turn and run.
Yeah.
Because we fight not with flesh and blood.
Mhm.
It's a spiritual battle, because what you're doing in your platforms, how you're using your voice, how you're using your story, how you are taking the power of your trauma and sharing your light for
Yeah.
others, right? You're freeing others, because when you stand up as a black man and speak from a vulnerable, transparent space, you give permission to others to do the same.
Yeah.
So what the inner saboteur, the enemy, would want is for you to feel hopeless and desperation and feel like it's not working and nobody's listening and these doors are not opening fast enough and all these things, right? Just today, I was talking to my therapist
Okay.
about this.
Yeah.
Just today.
Right.
Love it.
And in that I said, isn't it amazing how quickly we forget what God has done for us?
Short-term memory.
Ain't that the truth?
That
We woke
memory
up
is
this
so
morning
short
and
Wow.
term.
no longer on the table.
Yeah, you completely forget what God has brought you
Yeah.
through and what He's delivered you from. That you didn't have the qualifications, the money, the network, the support system. All those things was not there, but you had favor. You had divine favor, and you had grace, and you had mercy, and you shouldn't have made it, but you did. And you shouldn't have lived, but you did. All those things that God has delivered you from and brought you through, and you still standing here, courageous, bold, speaking your truth. The enemy wants you to forget those things, right? But we have to be intentional to say, shut up talking to me. Because the God I serve has delivered me, has brought me through. He owns the table. He is the source, and there is no resource that's not available to me.
Absolutely.
The God I serve can handle this. He can handle my bills. He can handle this relationship. He can open doors for me that no man can shut. We have to be intentional to speak to Him. Because you are here on purpose. You are on assignment.
Yes.
And I celebrate you, my brother. I celebrate you. We need you. We need your light.
Thank you. Y'all not about to have me.
So
call me
don't
today?
be throwing in no towels.
Yeah, we
Right,
need
so
you.
matter of fact, put that towel down.
Yeah, don't be throwing in no towels, because he will absolutely throw it back, because like Crystal says, the enemy wants us to not recognize we're in a hallway.
Yeah.
from door to door. It's just a hallway.
Yeah.
To get to another door, you usually have to go through a hallway.
Yeah.
And in that hallway experience, he wants you to not recognize it's another door coming. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Because that's how all of it has been. That's the track record, right? It's okay, God, I move out of this door, I go down the hallway, I move into this door. But the beauty of it is, God is the door maker. He doesn't just open doors. He makes them.
Yeah.
So often, we're like, God, if you open this door, I'll walk through it, Jesus. I will walk through it if you open it. And he's like, why don't you just walk towards it?
Oh, you set my foot right there.
Why don't you just walk towards the door? Because if I'm the door maker and you have the faith to walk towards a closed door, there's a sensor. That when you get to that sensor, the door will open.
Right.
Because I made the door to open for you so that you can tell others what I did.
Yeah.
So my objective is not for you to just run into the door, break your nose. If I'm going to open the door for you at Kroger, I walked my dog this morning and I walked past the door at Kroger and that thing opened right up. I said, God, we always want you to open the door and then walk. But you're like, walk and then I'll open. Walk and then I'll open.
Come on, somebody.
So you just, and you're not walking with reckless abandon. You're not walking with reckless, even if it feels like you're walking with reckless abandon. If you got Jesus, you're not reckless. You're just moving in faith.
Yeah.
It just made me think today too. The other revelation I had with the Lord today and my therapist was
Come on, therapy.
sometimes we feel like waiting, right? They say they that wait on the Lord shall mount up like wings, right?
Yeah.
You're like, Lord, I'm waiting on you to do some things.
Okay,
right?
because that
I'm
human flesh be
waiting.
like, Lord, what is you doing?
Right, what are you doing? I'm
Look
waiting
what's
on you
happening.
to show up, right? Well, we often think of wait as a passive word.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you think of wait as a passive word, then why are, when you go to a restaurant, why are they called waiters and waitresses?
Yeah.
They're not being passive, they serving.
Y'all
So if
is
you
giving,
look
y'all
at-
is, y'all
I'm
is,
just saying,
listen,
right?
y'all is giving it the season. I'm
So
loving it.
Wait means to serve.
Yeah.
Right? So while you wait on the Lord, serve the Lord.
Yep.
And then that's how you mount up on wings like an eagle, right? That's how you run and not get weary. You ain't sitting waiting on the Lord to come knock on the door. You are waiting on him. You doing the work. You doing your podcast. You on television. You talking to people. You shining your light.
Yeah.
You serving. You giving. That's waiting on the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like,
We're just telling you
and
what
I
we
love
live
it.
in.
And I love this. I love it because sometimes you just kind of need to hear it. Like you said, you have to
Yes.
surround yourself with those that positive mindset and like individuals. Which is why I love her.
Yes.
She keeps it balanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I be like,
Yeah.
I need just like, but it's I love that, and I love the whole thing that you guys are doing. That is amazing because you just never know who you are touching, who you are blessing, who you are feeding. And that was my thing when I got this platform. It was so much like, okay, I gotta be vulnerable. I got to be able to tell people these things and have these conversations that otherwise we wouldn't have. You know, the family secrets. Why are we hiding those? Why we hiding those?
Helping
Why
the
we hiding
devil
those?
out.
They
Right.
choking us
Helping
out.
them
Right, you know what I'm
Helping
saying?
them out.
Choking us out.
Why can't a man be able to show his emotion without looked at as another way? You know what I'm saying? Why the double standard? Why that? You know, it's just like we need to have these things, especially in our community. You know, and we need to have these outlets like this where we can talk to people and just have the dialogue.
And people need to be able to see it because often the challenge that we have is we've not seen healthy. We've not been fed healthy, so our appetite is not always for healthy.
Right.
And a lot of the things that are going to create positive legacy, we've seen models that are destructive and toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're often following something.
Yeah.
We're just not following something that's going to get us where we want to go.
Right.
So you talk about vulnerability. We talk about this in our community all the time because often we are walking around because of our trauma, because of our history. As African Americans, we are walking around with armor, literally. Imagine the armor from medieval times that cover you from the head all the way down to the bottom of your feet.
Yeah.
And we wearing that to the bathroom. We wearing that to the family reunion. We wearing that to the Kroger. We wear it everywhere we go when the objective was to wear it when you're in a war. That was what you were supposed to wear it for.
Yeah.
So if there is no place where you can be without your mask and without your armor, you need a new group of friends.
You perpetually at war.
You're perpetually at war.
Yeah.
And who's the victim? You.
Yeah,
That's the crazy part. It's usually ended up you're warring with yourself.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in order to relate, relationship is a big word. But really it's just talking about how you relate to people. How do you relate?
Mm-hmm.
If you fighting all the time, if you cussing all the time, if it's a war all the time, that means you need some more tools.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you a bad person, but you cannot build a mansion with bubble gum in the back of a shoe.
Right.
You just
Right
can't. And I ain't
resources.
nothing wrong with that bubble gum now, because I'm from Brooklyn, so I can smack that thing to the point where Chris will be like, give me that
Give me that little girl. Give me that girl.
Right. I told you one more time to stop popping that guy.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. It has its place, but it's not cement.
Yeah.
It's not going to
It's
build
not gonna
your next. So just because that's all you have doesn't change the rules that it's not going to build what you desire, what God has for you. So you got to find those places that are stores of tools
Yeah.
where you can get the tools to learn how to communicate. You can get the tools to learn how to not have contempt for everybody. You can get the tools to not criticize everybody when you're communicating. You're not stonewalling everybody, and the minute it's not going the way you want, you abandon the conversation without communicating.
Yeah.
For example, we talk to men that will say, she is ready to have a full-blown fight. And we can't have that fight because as I feel like fighting, I got to regulate. And
Yeah.
we're like, you do. Because what your body is doing
Right.
is trying to help you regulate. But you got to communicate that.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say, check it out. I hear what you're saying. I feel some things in my body right now. I'm not abandoning the conversation. I need a minute.
Process.
And I will come back to this conversation.
Right.
Now, some women will be like, when you coming back?
I wouldn't say now it's
Give-
up to
give
the
me
person
two-
to
give me
receive
2
it.
days.
Right.
They have to
They
receive
have to
that.
receive
Give
what
me,
you're saying.
give me
Yeah.
2 days.
And
Give me a night.
that's a tool.
Right? It's a tool to be able to say, listen, I learned something. I learned that I can leave the conversation, take some time to regulate myself and get my thoughts together without you feeling abandoned. I just have to communicate effectively, but guess what? I never saw that growing up.
Right.
What I saw were people fighting and folks slamming doors and folk getting in their car and leaving for 2-3 days. Everything I saw did not build legacy, but it was the model that I had.
And what happens is you know what you don't want, but you don't know what you do want.
Right.
Because you don't know what you do want looks like.
Right.
You don't know what healthy looks like. We know what we know, we don't know what we don't know. So in the pursuit of the yummy, right, it's doing the work. It's getting therapy. It's getting coaching. It's getting a community of like-minded people that can pour into your cup and show you what healthy looks like. Because oftentimes we think like, things like boundaries, right? We think that's to keep people out, keep people in their place,
Right.
and stay in your lane. Here's my boundaries, but it's not.
It's not a negative word.
It's not a negative word. It's to create healthy relationships. The boundaries say this is the space that we can be healthy in.
Yes.
Right? Not the space that I don't want you in.
Yeah.
This is the space I want you in. But in here, this is how we stay healthy.
Right.
It's a guide. But a lot of times, we did not get a lot of guidance in what to do. We got a lot of guidance in what not to do because people were trying to keep us safe. And people were in a lot of fear.
Yes.
Right.
How many times did we hear growing up, do as I say, not as
Right.
I do?
You like
Let's
what?
talk about that. That's what I love about this generation.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
And not even in a disrespectful way, but you know, when they're looking at the product of what, you know, my behavior has shown them, and it doesn't register with, okay, well, that doesn't feel right. I get what you're saying, and I get what you're showing me.
Right.
But it doesn't, you know, something about it doesn't look right, right? You're telling me to go to school, you know, get a good job and things like that, but then it looks like you went to school, you got a good job, and you're miserable.
Yeah.
And let me get this straight. You want me to voluntarily sign up for that.
Yeah.
So no, that doesn't make sense to me, and I need you to explain it. So now I think that that's the evolution of the generations.
Yes.
Now saying, hey, I got that you did what you were told, and that's fine, well and good. But I have questions because this is actually my life.
Yep.
So what are you guys' thoughts on the new generation kind of coming in to bring that evolution of thought, so to speak?
I love it.
Yeah, because the greatest opportunity is to say, that's a valid point. Can we explore that together? Versus, shut up,
I love that.
don't ask me nothing, or I said what I said. You know
Come
what I
on, Miss
mean?
Leeds.
To shut them down as if they're gonna look at you as if that was just an epiphany. Because you shut me down, you think I think something different?
Yeah.
Right.
You just solidified what I thought, which is that you really don't know.
You don't have the answer.
You don't have the answer. But it's so okay to say, you know what? That's a valid point.
And you know, I have grown children. I have a 30-year-old,
Oh yeah.
a 29-year-old, and a 23-year-old. And we have these conversations. And I've done enough work in myself that I can now receive that from them, right? And say, you know what, you're right. It don't make no sense.
Right.
You know, like you said, let's explore it
Yeah.
together, right? And then have the conversation with them. Okay, so what are other ways we can do this in a safe place, right? Other ways you can explore this. What are other options? And helping them to think outside the box. And that's what we really have to do. We have to learn to think outside the box that was created for us.
Yeah.
And with this world changing right now,
Everything.
with AI
Yes.
and all this stuff, that I'm glad that these kids are thinking that way. It's the evolution. They have to, survival of the fittest. Because common jobs, technical jobs are going to be gone. AI can do it all, right? It can, even Uber is being taken away. Cars going to pick up and drive up to you, pick you up and take you where you need to go, right? So all of this, the evolution is happening. And those who are thinking ahead, thinking how they can master this technology, thinking about how they can provide emotional needs services, right? Because the AI can't replace a human,
No.
right?
Cannot.
So I'm glad that this young generation is thinking like that. They need to be.
Yeah.
Because this world is changing so fast. Gone are the days of get a job, stay on a job, retire, get your pension.
yes.
Those days are gone. People are getting right.
I get
People
one
getting
thing
text
on.
messages that they've been laid off.
Oh,
Right?
emails. That's
Emails.
crazy.
So it's changed. So they're evolving at the rate that the world is evolving. They have to. Like my granddaughter is 2 years old, right? She was born during the pandemic. She is able to communicate with people on FaceTime and she Zoom as a 2-year-old. Her life is completely different than ours, right?
Oh yeah.
So they
Hit
have
the mute button on air.
right. Exactly. They've learned to evolve, and that's what they need to be doing.
If we can see the opportunity in removing barriers in how we connect and communicate with the other generation that's trying to communicate with us, we win.
Oh, absolutely.
We lose when we think the barrier that we've been given or the barrier that we're putting in place for us not to be able to see each other is the blessing. That's not the blessing.
Yeah.
The blessing is really to be able to say, let me do everything I can to remove what is keeping us apart in whatever this conversation is. Ask the questions. They're your legacy.
Yeah.
So they're not dumb.
Right.
They got the genes from you, right?
Ask them to show you
Ask
what
them
they
to
know,
show you what
and
they
you
know.
give them your wisdom.
And I think what the issue is, and I'm not a parent by a long shot, but I've seen it. My friends have kids, whatever, and they do the combative thing, and I'm like, hold on, don't do that. And I'm not telling you how to parent. Hear what they're saying, because normally it's the parent's pride that kicks in.
Yeah.
You're not gonna tell me what I know, because they are telling you, because we not in the 70s, 80s, 90s no more. You headed in a whole new direction. Like, we headed to the Jetsons and Back to the Future, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know, we headed that way. So you have to be able to meet them halfway. I know you deal with them with a 17-year-old all the time.
Yeah, I do. And I will have to say, though, that part of, once I learned, she was probably like 7 or 8. So she has always been like matched to 1,000 colors. I don't care. You give her red, green, she want blue and yellow, and she gonna mix them all together. And of course, I'm a 70s baby, old school. Color coordinate, right? Coordinate.
Yeah.
And so, we go through this whole thing or whatever. And one day she said, "You always telling me to be me, but then when I be me, you tell me don't do that."
Ooh.
And when I tell you, I had an epiphany.
What a
then,
gift. That's a gift.
Because I was looking at the way she dressed as a reflection
Oh,
of
yeah.
me, with
Right.
this girl going out here with 1,000 colors on and all this other stuff.
You
right?
ain't been embarrassed, me.
But, once I realized that was her self-expression, right? And that,
Come on,
it was so yummy.
Yeah.
It was okay for her to express herself. My job was to make sure that she was clean and, those types of things. So I got you on that. Match your colors. Mix and match them. Whatever it is you want to do. So it has been an evolution now at 17 where we do have dialogue.
Yeah.
We have the dialogue that, okay, well, tell me why you're thinking that. And then I may have to interject because at 17 you don't have enough experience yet, but you do have your own thoughts and your own emotions that I need to consider.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the delicate
I love that.
dance that I've been doing with her. So she survived and so have I.
Trying to survive each other. Ain't
Right.
that
I love
But
that.
isn't that the funny thing? The parents usually think, I'm trying to survive you.
Right.
And the kids are like, no,
I'm trying to survive you. How many more years I got?
Right. And what's interesting is, we often, I come from a Caribbean family. So for us, the expression, the hand motions, the heat that comes from your voice, all of those things. I'm not saying all, but the ones I'm from, they're going to let you know exactly where they're coming from. And their tone and delivery may not always be what you can enjoy.
Right.
So my goddaughter, I remember us having a conversation. And it was a tough conversation. And I said to her, can I share something with you? And she said, yeah. And I shared, and then I said, did I say that respectfully? Because I want to honor you in what I'm sharing. And I know this is a tough conversation.
Right.
And she was like, she calls me Nene. She said, no, Nene, nobody's ever asked me that. I said, well, you're grown. And my desire is to be helpful, not to cause you injury. I said, but I didn't always have these tools.
Yeah.
I didn't always know the power of being able to get permission to pour into you. And then to say, does that feel okay?
Yeah.
Is it too much? Because I can stop pouring right now. I can stop for a second, let you digest that, and you can come back. Instead, because I love her so much, I want her to get everything.
Right.
Because that's what I need.
Yeah.
And then being able to say, wait a minute, it's important what she needs. You want her to have it, but she's got to be able to process it.
And
Digest it. And to be able to say, is that okay? And for her to say, yeah, that was good. I'm like, Lord, I am learning even beyond what my generation before me taught me. Because they didn't teach me that.
Right. And I bet she took that and it resonated with her for like forever.
Yeah.
And guess what? She's probably sharing it now to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now I have to be mindful when I come to my associates and friends, because I don't use that term very loosely. Now more I used to. You got to get in that space now. But when I'm having conversations with people that I feel like I have to get off, and I haven't met with my therapist, or I haven't been on here to talk about it, because this is my little therapy beyond the therapy. I literally, and I learned this from somebody within the last 6 months, I literally have to go to somebody and say, Miss Crystal, do you have the mental capacity to handle something that I can share with you right now? I'm respectful about coming to people just unloading.
Yeah.
You have to be like, do you have the mental capacity to share? Let me share something with you right quick, because if not, I can come back.
Yeah.
You know, just be honest. Like, can you handle that? Because I don't know what you're dealing with, so I'm gonna
Right.
respectfully ask you,
Yeah.
can we have some dialogue? And I have to respectfully understand if you don't want to have it.
Yes.
So I just have
love
to
that.
mentally ask for, like, okay, just be respectful of other people when you want to vent. You know what I'm
One
saying?
of the things we say in our tribe is we have to give our souls permission to speak. A lot of times our soul does not have permission to speak.
Yeah.
And when you talk to people and if you ask, does my soul have permission to speak to you?
Yeah.
That is like, whoa.
I like that.
Right.
Beyond
Right?
the mask.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
My
'Cause
mask
you finna
is
let it
off.
come off.
Yeah.
Maybelline and all.
It's
Yeah.
off.
All of it's
Yeah.
gone.
Yes.
I like that.
It's powerful.
Yeah. Because you finna let them have it. Like, this is what it is.
It's the good,
Yeah.
it's the yummy stuff
Yeah.
though, right? It's not,
God, I love that.
it's not layered with a whole bunch of stuff. Cause when the soul, that's the yummy
That's the
right there,
authentic.
right? That's the authentic. And it's like, does my soul have permission to speak
Yeah.
to you?
And it's not primed with a lot of preservatives.
Right.
So one of the things, authenticity is this big buzzword, right?
Yeah.
Being authentic.
Don't forget organic.
And organic, authentic. It's wonderful.
Right.
But what we've said is, well, how? Because from my Caribbean background, I didn't get a lot of nurturing in that space. The family that I came from, they were amazing in certain ways, and in other ways, I had to fend for myself and figure things out.
Right.
So there was a level of people pleasing. There was a level of being seen and not heard. There was a level of mind your business.
Stay in a child's place.
Stay in a child's place. There was all of that. So becoming an adult and getting to the place where I was like, first of all, these masks are very heavy.
Yeah.
They weigh a lot. And when I wear them, I am showing up as an altered person.
Right.
So how can I make spaces where I don't have to wear them all the time? How can I identify what they are? And how can I move in a way where I am clearly making some decisions different to the decisions that I used to make? And what we've talked about is if you are hiding, protecting, defending, or proving, you might want to stop for a second, because those four things are repositioning opportunity for authenticity. Because you're doing them for a different reason. So I want to prove to you
That I'm smart.
that I'm smart,
Yeah.
that I'm capable, that I'm good,
That I love you.
that I love you. So I'm coming from a different place because my intention is to prove something to you.
Oh my God, today.
I'm trying to defend myself in an argument we had a week ago. So my intention is different
Yeah.
than being authentic and being able to say, I said it this morning in a meeting. I said, that was my bad. It was supposed to be 3 and not 2. I think she's got it right and I got it wrong. We still need a process, but I messed up on that.
You accepted that ownership and
In
accountability.
the moment.
Just then.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Because if my intention is to be authentic, I don't have to prove anything to you.
Yeah.
I just have to be authentic. That's the whole work. The whole work is stop trying to prove. In all of the decisions that you're making, if you're trying to do all of those things, it's hard to come from a light space. You coming heavy without even knowing it.
Yes.
Because you're bringing all of that into the conversation. You'll be surprised how many things show up differently when your intention or what's driving you is not one of those things. You're not trying to prove. You're not trying to hide. It's not one of those things. So
Yeah.
then you can just say, I have no idea.
Right. Authentically, I just don't
That
know.
I don't know. That's
know.
I don't know. Or you could say, wow, you said that and it hurt my feelings. What I heard you say was this, and that hurt my feelings.
Right.
And then you can give the person the opportunity to say, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that registered that way.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm not trying to hurt you. I don't ever want to hurt you like that. I'm sorry. What can I do? What can I do to support you? And what can I do for us to turn a corner on that? Versus, I got to defend myself because it ain't
Right.
about being righteous. It's just
Right.
about being right.
That pride is something else, like,
Who cares about righteous?
Right.
I'm just going to be right, whatever
Pride
it
is
takes.
something
Right.
else.
ain't it so?
That ego will get you wrong.
Every time.
Every
Every
time.
time.
My God, today. Boy, we done got some good stuff to see. Tam,
Yes.
I'm full over here.
I'm full now. I'm ready as a nap.
Well, listen, I got the yumminess.
The yummy.
And listen,
You
I ain't
can't
even-
hold nothing.
Listen.
Yes, the yummy.
This is why I love shows like this, because I can sit here and say I'm gonna stay on schedule and it never happens, and I love those.
Yeah.
Because that means divine intervention was supposed to happen and take it another direction.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yes. Yes.
2 nights. Damn, I'm full.
Listen, I'm over here thinking, what can you add? You know, it's the perfect meal. You know, some of
Right.
the
Yummy.
one
Yummy.
similar to the one that we want to get invited to.
right.
Well, you know,
I'm listening.
when you leave
When I leave,
that job,
Oh, this for you.
we might be able to work something out.
Oh, you heard it.
Let it
You heard it.
we'll
You
put
heard
a
it.
time.
Yes.
I
Yes,
love
conversations, because just for the record, I am signed up for the 4-hour Woman Unlimited.
Come on, Tam.
So,
Yes.
as I, still take some steps,
Yes.
I have taken
Yes.
steps in another direction.
Yay.
That's awesome.
We celebrate
We
you.
celebrate
We
you
celebrate
and
you.
acknowledge you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yes.
I am so
love
excited.
that. We are too. Yes.
I love that.
We can't wait, Tam.
Listen,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
See, the beauty about it is you've experienced the women already, so you know what you're finna get faced.
Listen, I'm telling you
Yes.
guys, once G sent me the link to say, hey, check out this interview with them. And when I tell you, everybody in my contacts can tell you they got a ping. Hey, you need to check this out. Hey, you need to check this out. Hey, you need to check this out. And it was, the response was just like, whew.
And I ain't even know a woman, and I was like, God dang it.
Yes, yes.
I was like, this is some good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because just listening to the stuff, I'm like, okay. And you get in, you be like, okay,
Yes.
I forgot I was working. I forgot I was at my 9 to 5. I was like, oh, wait, when I'm at work. Sorry, man, let me fill your medication. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Pulled over. I was in the parking lot of a grocery store at the time I got the link.
Wow.
I pulled over, made sure that I could, okay, yeah, I'm hearing what I'm hearing. Went into the grocery store, earpiece on and all, do not disturb.
Wow.
It was just that good. Replay. Replay.
Yeah, y'all
So it
doing what
was
y'all
very
supposed to do. The
cool.
assignment is being handled. The assignment is being handled.
Praise God.
Just know y'all, he got y'all touched. Y'all covered in the blood for sure.
We appreciate it.
That's amazing.
Our prayer is always for God to decrease Crystal and Nicole and increase the Holy Spirit.
Every time.
Clap your hands and say yes, Lord.
Every time.
Yes, I'm here for that.
Every
Yeah.
time.
Well, listen, Tab, I hope you're ready because I don't know.
I don't want to follow that.
I mean, but you got to because it's part of the segment. You got to do what you got to do. Let these women motivate.
I got the itis.
No, don't look at it that way. This is motivation. Fueling. This is more.
It's definitely motivation, but it's just like sometimes when there's just so much, like you say, you're so full.
Well, get a little bit more.
Like,
Here's the encore. I got trust in you because I live for these every week. I gotta have it. Okay.
And that's the funny thing about it, where how the conversation kind of turned into our authentic self, and
I haven't introduced it.
Oh well, no.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
I'll let you do that.
No, go ahead. I want to make sure now.
Go ahead. No.
All right, because got to tell the people. Now listen, if you're watching and if you haven't experienced this and if you haven't heard this on the show twice a week, you're missing out on the treat because it's my favorite part of the show. It is called Tab's 2 cents, and this is the part of the show where she gives us a piece of her. This is why we call her the Chief Perspective Officer of the show. So Tab, I'm turning it over to you for your 2 cents.
Well, all right. Well, again, I am first of all honored to be, coming right behind such a full meal. So I'm gonna add a little dessert on the side, and then we will, kind of go from there. But tonight's Tab's 2 cents will consist of we spoke on our authentic selves and our organic selves. And something that struck me earlier today was so amazing, and it was saying that a lot of times people measure our value to them based on what they get out of us, as opposed to what we're bringing to the table authentically, right? So you're so busy looking for something that you can get out of me, to you're measuring me based on what you can get versus what I'm giving. So what I'm giving you is my authentic self to bring to you the things that match up with what you said you want. And sometimes it won't look like agreement because guess what? You need to be told something different. Now, when you start to align up to receive, and I think that's part of the biggest lesson that we all can learn is being a receiving mode, to be receptive. And also it's sometimes about how you receive things. We often say, well, it's how you said it to me. It was how you did it. Well, sometimes it's how you received it. So how about you elevate your receptive mode?
Yes. Come on now.
Elevate that receptive mode. We'll align up. You'll receive what my intention was and what's for you, right? We always say what's for you is for you. For you to recognize what's for you, you have to be in the receiving mode. You did an example that actually is a part of one of my examples about being on a different dial.
Yes.
You can't be on 103.3 and want to listen in on what's on 104.1. It has to match up. So that receptive mode, that authentic mode, that organic self, it all has to line up so that you can get the things that you say you want, and you can get the things that I have to offer. And when you're looking back to say, okay, you know what, it might not have sounded like that, or it might not have been what she said. It was a little bit of what I heard. But when I know and trust that everything is always working out in my highest good, it doesn't really matter how you said it, because of how I received it. And because I'm in alignment with what I'm supposed to receive, it doesn't matter. Well, all that matters is that I'm in alignment and that I'm in the receiving mode. And thank you, ladies, for giving me so much to receive.
Thank you.
Thank you, G, for being such a vessel of always giving. I want you to start receiving, being on the receptive mode.
Yes,
Praise
ma'am. I'm
the
open the
Lord.
door.
And as we,
The door is
right.
open. The door is open.
you know, with that, it's a bunch of yumminess available,
Come on.
right? Yumminess and overflow. So that's Tab's 2 cents, just to talk about our authentic self being in the receptive mode to get all of the things that we say we want.
Amen.
I'm insulted
Why you insulted, Doc?
because that was 50 cents.
That wasn't even
And
2
I
cents.
think you don't
2
think
cents.
I know the difference between 2 cents and 50 cents. But it's okay.
So I gave you 2 coins and
Tabs 50
Just
cents.
say it.
Tabs 50 cents.
48 cents extra.
Well, guess what? I had to line up with
Praise
some
God.
There it is.
there.
I love it.
I told you had a little bit more to give.
I love
So
it.
Tabs 48 cents.
Yes.
Come on, somebody. Listen, tonight has been absolutely dynamic. I did not know I was gonna shed tears, so I'm gonna edit that out.
No, don't you
No, that's
dare.
right. I'm gonna edit. No, just joking. I hope that everybody listening tonight got something
Praise God.
out of what was discussed on this stage tonight in some capacity. I definitely, I know how I am about God and my Jesus, and I just love the fact that this happened. I was looking forward to this the day I got the email. And she was excited when I sent her all the information. She was like, bruh, I learned I got this and I got this. So now she's finna probably be on your team because I just feel like it's coming. I just feel like it's coming.
You
speak.
I feel like it's coming.
Come
But I love what you guys are doing
Thank
for
you.
women. I'm gonna mirror it and try to do it for us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what I'm
And we're
saying?
going to support you.
Yeah, and I
we
love that.
will.
Thank
We
you.
Absolutely.
So tell the listeners where they can listen if they need to listen.
Hey, go ahead and download that ATL Talks. You can get that app as well as our Cluster TV app. And Cluster TV, you can actually catch all of our stations and some absolutely fabulous content that we have going live. And we have some on demand. You can catch all of that on Google. You can catch it on Apple. And you can catch the ATL Talks direct app on iHeartRadio.
That is lovely. Yes, and just to throw a plug out, if you're in Atlanta on Friday, we have a wine and winning wine down conversations night.
Okay.
Well, it's a networking event. You can come in and meet some gorgeous people that they share their networking opportunities and things like that. You just come in, lightly food is served. They have music playing. It's a whole ordeal. So if you're in the area, hit us up on Candid on Instagram. I'll tell you, I'll put the flyer up so you can see it. Come out and meet Captain Daryl Davis,
That's
the man who
right.
owns this stuff.
The man
The
behind
man who put me on
curtain.
here, the man behind it. Thank you, Cap. If I haven't told you 100 times over, I appreciate you giving me this platform so we can discuss things like this. Listen, for the YouTube audience, please like, subscribe, and comment, and turn on the notification bell because this is the episode right here. You don't want to miss because you're going to have the yummy sensation when it's on. You understand me? Alright, I love y'all, man, to the moon and back. So all I always say every night when we close out, remember to protect yourself with your mental health. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Protect your inner peace and well-being. But it all starts where?
Charity starts at home.
Charity starts at the house, baby. You better get yourself full and clean first before you go and giving your gifts to everybody else. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other, but always like this here. Damn it, be selfish. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I love y'all, and we out for the night. ATL.